Thank you for tuning into a special edition of scsportsworld.com. I'm Luther Dupree, joined by my partner Mike Vick, and we're honored. We have a special guest in the house, Rhonda Glover. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Now, you're here to talk about a very serious matter, and I don't think a lot of people in the community, well, it's kind of hidden in most communities, mental health disorder, bipolar to be exact, correct?
Correct.
What can you tell the viewing audience about bipolar and some of your experience with that?
Well, actually, I worked in the healthcare field for many years,
Okay.
and I did work with clients who were diagnosed with bipolar prior to me ever finding out that my son also had bipolar disorder.
Wow.
He was diagnosed as an adult, but as a child, he was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, more known as ADHD or ADD. And as time went on, I started seeing symptoms, and I was more able to deal with them because of the type of work that I'd done for so long.
Okay. And now, what are some of the behaviors that you witnessed? You know, maybe someone's experiencing the same thing and they're trying everything. What are some of the?
Well, one thing to look forward to is highs and lows.
Okay.
Bipolar basically is two personalities.
Okay.
One can be very up.
Okay.
Or very down, and there's not too much of a middle ground there. I call it manic-y sometimes when they're up. It's a lot of excitement and a lot of movement around and not being able to sit still and just overly excited. And the lows can be anything from anger to depression to being annoyed, aggravated. So
can it happen, 5 minutes you're happy, then the next minute you're just completely done? So that's...
Yes,
wow.
It can. It can happen in a matter of minutes. This thing about mental health and bipolar in particular is that people don't acknowledge it as an illness.
Right.
It's not something that you can see.
Okay.
I mean, if you break your arm, you normally wear a cast or something like that. But this is a hidden illness and pain that a lot of people do suffer from, and sometimes you don't know it until it comes out.
Or it's too late.
It's too late, exactly.
And I think there probably needs to be more training, just in general. I mean, as we've seen through the years, police officers, the past year, they've killed a couple people who were suffering from mental illnesses, and and the training wasn't right.
Yes.
And unfortunately, people have lost their lives. What kind of services are out there to help someone in your situation? If you found out your child has bipolar or mental health, what have you?
Well, I found out through trial and error.
Okay.
I did not know there were so many places available for people with that disability. But fortunately, there are very many corporations and companies who do help people like that. For one, I would like to say Resolve.
Okay.
Resolve is a very good crisis center. They are a 24-hour service.
Okay.
You can call them anytime, day or night. They do have a mobile team that will come out and assess the situation if you do call them for help. They also have a walk-in where you can just walk in off the street and ask for help. There's also a number that you can call. It's an Allegheny number, 211, which is also a hotline that can provide all types of resource information to a lot of the people who are suffering or have loved ones who suffer with, mental health disorder or bipolar disorder.
Well, I would like to know, you said your son was misdiagnosed at first, they said ADT, but he had bipolar. What were the circumstances that made you aware that he was bipolar? Because I think it might be a lot of other children might be misdiagnosed as well.
Well, actually, when they had diagnosed him in kindergarten with ADD, I was not really aware of what it was.
Okay.
I found out by research and talking with doctors and psychiatrists and whatnot, and they basically described it as being a learning disorder, and said that if nothing was done, that he would probably grow up to be a problem child.
Wow.
And I didn't want that. They wanted to put him on Ritalin. I wasn't familiar with Ritalin, and so I did not want to experiment, with my child. But as time went on and he got older, then it seems that the diagnosis changed. And they started mentioning the bipolar and explaining what it meant, and saying that ADD was something totally different, and some people think it's just a older, I want to say, condition, but related to ADD.
Okay.
And also, yes, he does act differently, than maybe a person with ADD. Bipolar disorder, sometimes the anger turns into like a rage situation where it can be scary.
Right.
But what people need to understand, those are not reasons to be afraid of people with that disease, because 9 times out of 10 they would hurt themselves before they would hurt someone else.
Now that brings me to another question. Somebody who's dealing with the same thing. As far as family, how did you deal with that, or the family down there? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that. They don't want to tell anybody, so they just don't come around much. Or how has that experience been?
Actually, that is what happened with me.
Okay.
I didn't tell my family for many years that I was dealing with a child with bipolar disorder. It was not something that I felt that they could help me with, and I felt it was my situation, and it was my responsibility to take care of it. And I was still trying to find out more about it myself, and I could not explain to them when I wasn't real sure myself about what was going on.
Right. It was because it was so new, and you're still trying to adjust yourself. And
yes, through the years, like right now he's an adult, he's 34 years old. I've been dealing with this since he was in grade school, and I am very educated now on his mental health situation, because I go to a lot of his appointments with him, and I have over the years. I've talked to his treatment team. I have seen the medications that he's been on and what they do. I've seen the effects that they have on him. It's gotten to the point where I can look at him and tell whether or not he's even taken his medication.
Okay. So you believe the medication definitely works, that they have for the disease, for the disorder?
If they get the proper medication. Sometimes they have to wait and see what the reactions are going to be before they decide what medication is best for what person.
Right.
We're glad to be airing this topic, because unfortunately in our community, this is like a topic that's not, that we've kind of shunned. And we're glad that you are enlightened enough and bold enough to be able to talk about it, because you can help other people. And like so often, it's something that's taboo in our community.
Stigma,
we don't deal,
swept under the
we don't
rug.
deal with psychiatrists and things of that nature. And it's just, like I said, it's a sickness, and we have to deal with it as such. The same way we deal with addiction is a sickness. So that's very important, and we really thank you for being here today to share your story.
My pleasure.
What kind of advice would you give someone? I know you gave some resources, but as far as support, if somebody's in your situation, they're kind of nervous because they haven't been through this, it's their child, what would you tell them?
First of all, don't provoke. If you see your loved one, or someone that is suffering with this disease, and you see them agitated already, if anything, try to either calm them down or try to leave the situation, let them calm themselves down, or try to talk to them if you can. But agitating them even more is not going to do anything but make things worse. Also, some people have the misunderstanding that bipolar disorder and some other forms of mental health mean that the person is uneducated or illiterate. That is totally false. Right. My son in particular is extremely educated. He's been to college, he's played all types of sports, he has functioned very well over the years. No one would ever know that he had any type of a condition unless they either set him off or he was off his medication and he couldn't sleep or other symptoms occurred. Normally, if they're left alone and not bothered or agitated by anyone, they can live a normal life pretty much without, getting into trouble or having any type of relapses, as long as medication is taken the way it's supposed to be and they have the right treatment team around them.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you giving the viewing audience, your experience, about everything and all the resources that have helped you through the years. But I think this is an issue that definitely needs to be brought out more.
Yes.
We have to keep exposing it, so people aren't ashamed, because it's a disease just like you said, breaking an arm, breaking a leg.
Right.
We have to talk about it so we can solve it, and people who are struggling won't be afraid to, let people know, hey, sometimes I struggle with certain issues.
May I also mention one other thing before I do forget? When you mentioned about the police officers and whatnot, needing to be trained and have more education, in terms of knowing when they're running into someone with a disability, I want to say that would be very advantageous. Yeah. Mainly because there are so many different things that can cause a person to think that a person is doing something other than the fact that they are either overly medicated or they are just agitated at the time because, of their condition or whatnot. And it could be misunderstood.
Exactly.
And as a result, unfortunately, people have lost their lives and have, been imprisoned and whatnot because they were mental health and it was mistaken for something else.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, hopefully, this gets out there and the police officers, they start taking more of this into consideration, so we don't have, like we had, I guess it was last week, the guy was obviously suffering from mental health mixed with alcohol and ended up losing his life. Yeah. And there's a parade for a dog, but the man who lost his life, it's nothing. So, things like that really upset me, and we have to start taking this more seriously. So thank you so much for bringing this out there.
You're welcome.
Mike, you wanted to add something?
Well, no, I was simply thinking about, like you said, your son is very educated, he went to college, he played sports. What are the type of things that keeps him in a stable mode? Because you think it could be high and low. Was the sports very helpful for him? 'Cause I remember that's how you reached out to me, thought I was a Mike Victor football player. and it was good because really it was an avenue for us to get a chance to speak. Right. Because we always try with our show to bring positive enlightenment to our community. So we really want to thank you for bringing this up. But I wanted to know if we were to see someone, it's an obvious situation that we know that they're unbalanced and we know they have a condition, what can we do from just being concerned? What will be the avenue we should take to try to make him in a more mellow state?
Well, probably several things that people aren't aware of. First of all, most bipolar people are easily agitated.
Okay.
Don't like being crowded or closed in. Don't like people raising their voices at them. Things like that. Things that we normally would deal with every day. Bipolar people have a problem with sometimes. And that's one reason why a lot of them may not be able to work a 40-hour week, or something like that, because they may not be able to deal with their surroundings and the different personalities and whatnot on the job, things like that. So normally, you know, when I'm around someone, I mind my business anyway, but you know, there are people out there that don't, you know, and sometimes they'll come out and make remarks and comments and things like that. You know, if you have somebody around like that, you know, who's bipolar, they may not take kindly to that. So,
Exactly.
you know, some people have to watch what they say sometimes
right.
and watch what they do and watch their tone,
Okay.
you know, because they take things very personally.
Okay. A lot of great information, Ron, and I truly appreciate you bringing that on. And you give those resources again as we wrap up. Some places that they could call.
Like I
if
said,
they're
there is a
struggling.
number, Resolve.
Okay.
Actually, you can just call the letters on the phone, and
Okay.
I believe that's the number for Resolve. I don't know it right offhand. 211, you will call the United Way for resources that are available to people not only who are mental health but are in a crisis, and if they need help from any other agencies that are out there.
Okay. And once again, I just, you know, it's good to hear because that you're so involved in your son's treatment, because a lot of parents, you know, probably in your situation, once they're an adult, they, you know, I'm done, that's it. But you stayed in there and you're trying to help others and helping him as well. So
I just didn't want him being a statistic, and
Right.
you know, I didn't want him, you know, going to jail and you know things like that. So
we
I
definitely
said,
need more mothers like you. That's
Thank you.
That's very appreciated.
I
Thank
truly
you.
believe with the information that you shared, you helped some others today
I hope
who
so.
might have some children who might have been misdiagnosed because they're quick to give our kids labels in
Yes.
school. ADT, want to put them on Reddit and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
And like you said something else that I know to be a fact. The medicine, it may take a while for them to get adjusted to the
Right.
medicine.
2
things of
weeks
that
normally,
nature.
yeah.
So those type of issues, but I'm sure that you've helped a young mother or another mother, or even a father for that matter, that has a child and know there are the resources there and have some type of understanding of what could be wrong with our child.
Exactly.
But I do know that love, when we love our children, we're going to do what we
everything you
can
can
to make sure we can do the
Exactly.
best we can for our kids.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So you heard the information. I want to thank Rhonda Glover for coming on and enlightening us and educating us about bipolar. Don't be afraid. Reach out for help. It's out there. You just have to take advantage of it. For Mike Vick, I'm Luther Dupree. I want to thank Rhonda Glover again. We'll check you out next time. Check out the website at csportsworld.com.
Hotep Pittsburgh.